Oh, we're a little bit late, but this is Tim's New York Giants Trade Talk, powered by Online Big Blue LLC, brought to you by the Mighty FanDuel. That's FanDuel.com, the number one sports book in America. So make sure you go to Mighty FanDuel. I already see some old friends in the chat. I see Joe Ferris. I see AJ Marshall, of course. The Skyline is here. Mr. Rogers is here. Hardcore Giants is here. Greg is here. Mr. Greg is here. We're already, and there's the big Mike Lee. Oh, there's the big Mike Lee. We got Dan. Is that Dan Wolf in there? Dan? Where have you been? I know where I've been trying to get a car fixed. Brandon is in his house as well. What's up, Brandon? Back in the New York groove, baby. Well, I was looking at an article, and there's so many things going on right now. DJ Moore goes to the Bills for a second rounder, and I mean, and also I think the Bills are I think the Bears are swapping a 6 as well. No, the Hemi didn't break down. The Hemi did not break down. And first of all, it's not just a Hemi. It's not just a Hemi. It's the Challenger 1320. Hemi. Now, anyone knows about the 1320 is that's how many 1,320 feet is how many feet are in a quarter mile. No, the Hemi's fine. Trust me. The Hemi's hemming along. You look at these. Now it's not a hell. You know what's actually funny? The vehicle that I own is actually more rare than the Hellcat, because out of the 1320, only 333 production models were made, because it's actually a street legal dragster, and only 333 of these cars were made since 2019. And in my mock, what I have the car mocked up at, there's only 2 in existence. So yeah, when you hear the quarter, when you see me pulling into the parking lot of MetLife, let's put it this way. It's see the Hellcat. I'm not going to get on. We're going to talk Giants. I can talk cars all day long, but we got to talk Giants. We got to talk about Wandale Robinson. Of course, Wandale Robinson was not franchise tagged, and there's already rumors and speculations that it's. Does it make you mad that a Tesla will smoke? Oh no. All right, Joe. Joe, what do you live in my house? We smoked the Tesla the other day. Shouldn't be saying that, but we smoked the Tesla the other day. There was a Tesla that is always riding my ass in around the neighborhood, and I got tired of it. You got to remember, I got 485 horsepower in that Hemi. 485. I've done the quarter mile in under 9 seconds in that car. 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. And there was this car there's this Tesla that gets on my nerves, and they got on my nerves really bad yesterday. And let's put it this way. The Tesla's still looking at my taillights. But we're not going to get into that because the wife might be watching. Motorcycle season has started too. Yes, I got the Nighthawk. I got that on the battery, on the trickle charger. So we're getting ready to, as soon as it gets a little warm, we're going to take the Nighthawk special out. But we're not going to get into that. We're going to talk about Wandale Robinson. I can talk about motorcycles and cars all day long, and movies and everything else. But let's talk about Wandale Robinson. Of course, Wandale Robinson, there's rumors and speculation right now that Wandale could be having a reunion with Brian Dable over in Tennessee. The Giants, of course, did not drop the franchise tag like they did on Pickens and like they did on Pierce. So there is already talk that he's going to scurry over there in Tennessee, and I have no problem with that, because of the fact that I don't need a short wide receiver who can only catch the ball 6 yards off the line. And then when his best 2 games, 2 of his 3 best games came without our starting quarterback under center, Jackson Dart. So I'm okay with that. But what I have an issue with, I saw an article yesterday, and it said that the Giants aren't rebuilding under Harbaugh. They are retooling. What's up, Big Evan? They're retooling. And I got a little concerned about that. I'm not going to lie to you, because when I'm seeing this article, the article was that there's so much talent on this Giant team right now that the Giants don't need to go through a rebuild, that they're going to go through a retool. And then I think about all the times that Joe Schoen has done this in the past. And I understand, listen, Joe Schoen's not in charge of this team. Let's be 100% honest. If you saw the Mike Francesa rant, Joe Schoen is definitely not in charge of this New York Giants football organization. But what the issue is right now is if you look at the Giant roster and you look at the amount of cap space we have and the amount of cap space we can get by moving on from players that we have, this is going to be a total rebuild. I'm going to move the camera over a little bit. This is going to be a total rebuild or a total breakdown of a rebuild here. And I can't see anyone thinking that the Giants could be potentially retooling to make a playoff run, because it literally doesn't make any sense to me. Now, I know this is just sport writer father, and I understand that, and it doesn't bug me, but I guess it does bug me. I guess, you know what? I just found out it does bug me a little bit. And Mr. Gregg says, I don't mind getting rid of popular players. We're going to talk about getting rid of popular players too. And what's up? I know that's not Denise. I'm not worried about getting rid of popular players, but I'm just worried about the fact that there's people out there that are sports writers, that are pundits, that are people that are supposedly following the Giants that look at this roster and say, we got this great team. And like I said, if this is a 6-7 win team, I'd be happy. I'd be ecstatic. But I can't see this team retooling instead of rebuilding, because if we look at the actual roster and we break down the actual depth chart, you're going to release probably like another 11, 12 guys. There may be 20 guys under contract by the time that Don and John Harbaugh are done with this purge. And don't forget, let's say we have 23 guys. That means we got to find 30 others plus practice squad players to fit under the limited amount of cap space we have. And we're not going to get everyone in the draft because we are short a third round pick this year. We don't have a plethora of picks. And winning the moves for moving on from Kayvon Thibodeau would be I saw this. AJ just cracked me up for a second. We've been retooling for 15 11 years. You can say motherfucking years. It's all right. It's okay. But I just can't see it, and I don't understand where we're looking at, because I keep looking at the Giants cap space, and maybe I should stop doing that. Maybe I should stop looking at what we have and what we don't have and what we need. Because right now, we've talked about this before, with Kayvon Thibodeau, we have with Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, and you also cannot forget the Chauncey Golston. That we have the most amount in the entire league tied into our defensive line. And the problem is our defensive line is probably ranked third in our own division. Think about that. We have the most amount of cap space in the entire league tied up into a defensive line. I think we're probably third ranked in the division. And people are like, well, Tim, that's not true. No. When you give up the amount of rushing yards that we give up, yes, it is. When you don't get the amount of sacks that we do not get, yes, it is. And it's a little bit scary. So I just can't think that, Hirsch, for real, what's up, brother? I just can't think that we're in this middle of this retool. We're in the middle of the rebuild of a rebuild of a rebuild. But I just can't figure it out. Because if we're looking right now with the moves we're making, we've probably gotten up to about $10 million in cap space. And that's with the Bobby Okereke move. I don't agree with the Bobby Okereke move, because all we have done is depleted our linebacking core even more. Literally, if you take a look at the Giants linebacking core, what we currently have right now on this team, and I know what we have on this team is not what we're going to have going into the season. I understand that. But if you take a look at our linebacking core, we have nobody. And everyone's saving grace is, well, we're going to bring McFadden back on a low-cost deal. So we're going to have Chris Board, Neville Hewitt, Schwartz Bozeman, Darius Muasau, Dimitri Flanagan-Flowers, Zane Barnes, and McFadden as our starting linebackers. The Cleveland Browns, the Cleveland Indians years ago used to have Spawn and Sane. And they had an expression with the, I know it's a baseball term, but they had an expression back in the 50s when these two guys pitched. It was spawn insane and pray for rain because they had no one else behind them. If you are relying right now on Chris Board and Micah McFadden to be your starting linebackers and a hybrid or base 3-4, that's not good. And I understand there's going to be times that if you take a look at what Denard Wilson did in Tennessee, that he's going to bring up the safeties. So I've already said it before. I think Tyler Nubin should be more of an in the box safety. I think he should be a Patrick Graham type Pepper / Logan Ryan type safety, when both of those guys played about 78% of their snaps in the box. So he's going to be more helpful at the linebacker role. But when you have most of your cap money tied into your defensive line and your defensive line is ranked 4th in your own division, that's an issue. That should something that we look at right now. And like I said, I don't think there was anyone on the market from the amount of money that we are saving with Bobby Okereke that would be better to bring in than Bobby Okereke. Now we're like, well, we're going to trade for the guy in Chicago. Okay, but is he really that much better than Bobby Okereke? He's younger, but is he really that much better than Bobby Okereke? Has his tenure in Chicago been as productive as he was in Buffalo? And then you're going to trade Kayvon Thibodeau and eat up $17 million in cap space, and you're going to have to give this guy an extension. It's not like we're getting back Lawrence Taylor or Carl Banks, hell, or even Gary Reasons. There's a lot that needs to be done with this team. And I get that. And I am not going to sit there and bash this organization right now because there's no need to. You're going to have to clear cap space. You're going to have to move on. You're going to have to move on from players. I just saw a Fred Warren comment. Where's Mr. Gregg? Mr. Gregg said, yeah, I heard the chat sports that Fred Warren had a big injury last season. Fred Warren, 49ers, 30 years old, coming off an ACL. Those fucking morons want to trade for him. Not the Giants. Chode Sports. That's why Mr. Burns, excellent. But now I love it because someone sent me a picture. He's got his arms down like this. What was that episode in Seinfeld with the woman that didn't swing his arms? That's Chode Sports. Because Chode Sports knows nothing about basketball. They know nothing about football. Shoot, I don't even think they know anything much about nothing. You don't trade for a 30-year-old who's coming off an ACL and think he's going to be the savior. Did we not learn from John Beeson, who we got on the cheap from Carolina, and he played well for like 9 games back in the day? And then all of a sudden, we give him a contract and he rips up his knee again? I know it's shocking. I know that. But we have to think about this organization as players that are going to be here when we're good. I don't mind moving on from Kayvon Thibodeau. I think the Giants should move on from Kayvon Thibodeau. But I will need to move on from Kayvon Thibodeau to bring back someone who is going to be here in 3 years when the Giants are going to be hopefully good again. I don't need to come in with a guy that's 30 years old with a torn ACL. Now, if you want to get Tremaine Edmonds, that's fine. There is this idiot RJ or JR.
Stupid giant Twitter post.
He wasn't on Twitter. He was on YouTube because he got upset that I kept calling Tremaine Edmonds the wrong name. And I had to try to explain to him, sometimes I do it because I think it's funny. And when I make the mistake the first time, I correct myself, but then I do it and call them other names because I think it's hilarious. Some people don't, but I don't care. That's why it's my show. It's my party, and I'll rhyme if I want to. But if you want to go out and, like I said, if you want to move on from Kayvon Thibodeau and trade him for Tremaine Edmonds, I have no problem with that. I think there's value there. I don't like the $17 million because you're going to trade the $14 million from Kayvon for his $17 million, which means you're going to have to restructure his deal or give him a new deal, that Mr. Edmonds, before he even gets to New York. That's crazy. That's gonna be nuts. It makes zero sense. And I was doing a lot of research on Dawn, and evidently Dawn is supposedly, and I don't know, because like I said, this is just research and people I've talked to. She's supposedly very good at her job. She was very good when she worked for the league. She negotiated a lot of deals. She's done a lot of things that you know that you want to do, and she's very good at what she does. Unlike Kevin Abrams, whose calculator was missing a 7. But so I'm hoping that Dawn, who reports to John Harbaugh reports to the owner, have this understanding that, listen, we need to clear the cap, but we also can't bring in more money and say, are we demonstrably better with Tremaine Edmonds than we are with Kayvon Thibodeau? I would say yes. I would say because we have no linebackers. Literally, it's a step up from garbage to trash. I mean, you have to say yes. And you have to rebuild from somewhere. But we are so top heavy on that tier 1 portion of the line that we get a little befuddled because of the fact that that line does not play up to expectations. I saw LeVar Arrington. What is Tom say? I saw, man, I loved my Mr. Nichols LeVar Arrington. I thought he was going to be great. Had a great half in Dallas, and he blew his Achilles on the sack. When the Giants at that time with LeVar Arrington were in upstate New York, because I always tell Australia I would stay in Troy, New York, and then go over for like 2 weeks and go to training camp. And I remember, because if anyone remembers, when they had the training camp upstate New York, there was this, there's a section that you could come to day practice and night practice. And they had this, the practice fields had this little fence, and you could stand by the fence and players would come by. And I had like a 45-minute conversation with LeVar Arrington. I was a lot younger then, but I had a long conversation with LeVar Arrington. I was super excited because, you know, I have friends that played ball at Penn State. And I was super excited when he came here, and then to see what happened to him on that play. You're right. I mean, it basically just ended his career. But it was, I had that expectations for LeVar Arrington and John Beeson just as well. Dawn is very good with the numbers. That's the thing, though. Everyone says Dawn is this cutthroat person that's going to come in here, look at the books, make the moves that have to be made to make this team better, and put them in the right position to win. And I just don't understand. I think here's my thing with Tremaine Edmonds. He's getting $17 million now. He's 27 years old. He's getting $17 million now. He's on the last year of his contract. So is Kayvon Thibodeau. So it's a rental for a rental. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. I really do not have a problem with that whatsoever. But the question is going to be, are you really going to pay him more than he's making now? And we're already talking about the Bears putting together hypothetical packages for Max Crosby, and that Edmonds would be in with one of those packages. So I do find it interesting. They also had a package with the I saw just the other day where the Jacksonville Jaguars were packaging a Brian Thomas Jr., the wide receiver, for Max Crosby. So, I mean, like I said, the trade market's going to be there. So, I mean, if I'm the Bears and I could trade Tremaine Edmonds for Max Crosby and not Kayvon Thibodeau, you know what deal I'm making. You know where I'm going with that. I'm gonna hit the like button. I can't, I would definitely make that deal. But it just, we just have to look at this the right way. So mad we signed Bullock. Oh yeah, Keith Bullock too. Keith Bullock was another one. John Beeson's knees were already a mess. No, I agree, but I'm just saying John Beeson played for like 7-8 games phenomenally for the Giants, and the Giants back then were like, hell yeah, we haven't had a good linebacker in years. We're gonna give him a contract. Oh yeah, the OBJ thing. So evidently some idiot fan started a petition for the Giants to sign OBJ. Whoever that idiot fan was, the fan card should be automatically revoked. OBJ is done. He is a distraction. He is a shell of the talent that he was, and I don't even know if he's physically able to play 8 games, let alone 17. You gotta revoke that motherfucker's fan card. Just go whoop. Chode Sports also reporting Jackson Darts want OBJ. I feel I'm like fucking stupid. It's Chode Sports, man. What do you want from them? We know we're gonna do. I've made this decision today because we had some things going on in the house and stuff. Nothing bad, but some things that put some shit into perspective. And one of my things of perspective is this season and this year is I'm not gonna fucking care. People are gonna say stupid shit. People are gonna do stupid things. Content creators are gonna do things to make for the clicks, the likes, the bleeps, and the boops. They're gonna just be fucking morons because they can't come up with their own content. I love how we were on the Sonny Styles trains 2 weeks before everyone else, even before the combine, and now everyone's like, "Oh, we gotta get Sonny." Okay, where were you motherfuckers 2 weeks ago? I made this decision that I'm just gonna let it slide, man. Chode Sports wants to be stupid. There you go. The Jersey Giant girl wants to be a Chat GPT expert. People want to watch that? Go right ahead and watch it. This one, you ready for real news and ready for actual football insight and breakdown for someone that's worked in the league and played in college, then you come here. You want to go out and be entertained? You want to go out and be entertained by these morons also? Go ahead and do it. I don't care. Because to each their own. And we are now going to just be like, whatever, guys. This is why I never watch content. I used to say I didn't watch content because of the fact that I didn't want to have my opinion influenced. Now I don't watch content just because people are stupid. And they come up with these ideas just to get the fan base riled up, just to get people excited. And at the end of the day, it never comes true. And they're always wrong about everything.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
That's all that matters. You go there for entertainment and you come here for knowledge. Plain and simple. But, I mean, if I'm the Bears, I'm trading Tremaine Edmonds for Max Crosby. It makes sense. And for the Giants to whiff on this trade, with the Rams at the corner, that didn't make sense to me either. You're going to drop a first. And the good thing with the Rams gave up a first, but that was like 26th or 27th. The Giants could have probably thrown in a second instead of that, which would have been which is 37th. So it wouldn't have been much of a difference, but you probably would have thrown in a later pick, and we don't have a third. But it doesn't make sense either way. What we need to do, and this Monday, we're going to have a show, of course, streaming. Legal tampering starts at noon on Monday. We'll be streaming at 11:15, and we will come back on at 4:00 if we have to. We are going to have a guest on, and it has been confirmed, but I'm not going to say whom yet. But we are going to have a guest on, and also hold on a minute. I'm going to. This is what we do. I'm going to go on my phone here and look this up. Here we go. Let me just double check that it's not been confirmed, because if it's confirmed, then I can just tell everyone. Oh yes, we're going to have on Ryan Roberts from A to Z Sports. If you don't know, Ryan is a very astute person that covers the draft and everything. Ryan. So we're going to have on Ryan Roberts from A to Z Sports. He's going to come in here. He's going to talk about the New York Football Giants. We're going to talk about everything that is going on in reference to free agency. So we'll start the stream at 11:15. We'll go to about like 1:30, 1:40.
That's what she said.
And then we'll come back on at 4:00, and then we will have a noon stream on when legal tampering is over, and then we open up the NFL, the 2026 season next week as well. So make sure you stay tuned. Ryan Roberts is going to be here live, so make sure you come here with all your questions, all your fun stuff. We're going to go over that. But it's just, I'm not hoping, because I know it's going to happen. The Giants have to do this the right way, and they're going to make decisions that just don't make, that are going to have to make sense for this organization. And that's where we're going to have to go. And I love it, because now Connor Hughes says the Giants are high on veteran quarterback Jamal Dean, who's projected to get a 3-year, $37 million contract. Why would we give a corner 3 years, 37 when we just gave Paulson Adebo 4 years, 56? If that's the case, then just bring back Cordell Flott. Now, the venerable Pro Football Focus has his pass coverage rating at 75.9 and 99.9% pass rush. So the corner rushes the passer. His pass rush percentage is better than any defensive end in the league at 99.9%. He did have a impressive completion percentage against at 49.2% and a passing rate of only 63.1. But here's my thing with Dean. We've just talked about with LeVar Arrington. We just talked about with John Beeson. We just talked about it a couple times with a couple players. He's got issue of injuries. He's never played in a full season in a 7-year career and has missed at least 2 games each year in 7 years. So you got to kind of figure that, and maybe the market maybe his market does an Asante Samuel Jr. like last year, who didn't go to the Steelers till late during the season, not even in free agency. But that makes, that's another move that just doesn't make any sense. And I'm going to keep saying it before. The most thing that makes sense to replace Bobby Okereke is Quay Walker. That makes the most sense. People are going to look at his Pro Football Focus Quay Walker and say it was only at 54.5% in that area. And usually his grade is about 75. Pro Football Focus is such a fucking joke. Quay Walker plays 2-3 yards off the line of scrimmage, understands how to go through the traffic to get to the ball carrier. He's got a missed tackle percentage of 3%. All Quay Walker does is make tackles, and you're probably going to get him at $9 million, which is interesting because you just released Bobby Okereke for $9 million. And then Quay Walker still allows you to go out and get Sonny Styles if you want Sonny Styles. It still allows you to do that. But I just keep thinking that we have to be realistic. Yes, we could clear $100 million in cap space, but you're cutting all these guys. You're restructuring all these deals. You are guaranteeing all this money, and you're pushing money out in the 2027. And I don't think I can't speak for Don because I don't know, but I don't think Don's going to want to do that. I don't think that Don is going to want to move this money. We've said it before, I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. Why don't we want Walker from the Packers? Come on, T, tell me why. Tell me why. I want to know why. He makes sense. He is a guy that flows to the football. He has the feng shui. He doesn't miss tackles. He's had 100 plus tackles every season that he has been in Green Bay. He is well taught. He is well disciplined. He can tackle. If you watch the Green Bay Packers, and I watch a lot of Green Bay Packers, the other team that I like because my dad was a huge Vince Lombardi fan. So that was another team in this house that was grounded into my brain. Lombardi, certain magic still lingers with the name. But I don't know what's in the water in Wisconsin, but they teach these guys how to tackle. Micah McFadden, who people want to give a 1-year prove it deal, has a career missed tackle percentage of 13.8. Quay Walker's is 3. One of the biggest issues that we have and have had on this Giant team is the ability to tackle. Quay Walker solves that problem. And Quay Walker still allows you to go out and get Sonny Styles or allows you to go out and get Reese. It makes sense. If you want to revamp your entire defensive, listen, if you can figure out a way to have Brian Burns and Abdul Carter set the edge and maintain their assignments against the run, and then you have 2 venerable linebackers. And like I said, I'm putting Sonny Styles out as an outside linebacker. Kid's a former safety who's only played the linebacker position for about 2 years. He's not Isaiah Simmons. Isaiah Simmons didn't know if he wanted to be a safety or a linebacker. At 6+, what is he, 6'4", 253, Sonny Styles? He's a linebacker. You pair him up with a Quay Walker, and you put Quay Walker behind Dexter Lawrence, who has had an issue the last 2 seasons stopping the run, and you just tell Dexter, listen, if you're not going to make the tackle, slow these motherfuckers down. So when they get into the second level, I got a guy back there in Quay Walker who understands how to play the position and is young enough and athletic enough. And if you want to talk about, he has one of the best pass rushing win percentages of an inside linebacker in the entire league last year, according to the Pro Football Focus. That's what you have to do. It makes sense. And then if you put Sonny Styles on the outside, and I'm putting Sonny Styles on the side that I'm pairing up with Abdul Carter, because Abdul Carter burst to run is a liability. He was a liability in college when he had a we've talked about the 25.8% missed tackle percentage he had in college. Those 2 years as an off the ball linebacker, which means almost 26% of the time as an off the ball outside linebacker, he missed the tackles, which is one of the reasons why he was moved to defensive end. Also because of the fact that Penn State lost a guy in the first round and the third round of the draft that year. But he is a liability. I need an athletic linebacker who was a sideline to sideline guy. And like I said, I watched all this film on Sonny, and this guy is a sideline to sideline linebacker. And I think he could be a true 3-down backer. And you pair him up on Abdul Carter's side, you put Quay Walker behind Dexter Lawrence. If you want to bring back Micah McFadden, I'm fine with that. You bring back McFadden, you could start on the second inside linebacker position if you need it, and then you find a third guy, you find that fourth guy on the outside. You can probably fix a lot of the problems that you had against stopping the run the last 6 years since 2022. So that would only be 5 years. And then you bring up Tyler Nubin in the box and make him a Logan Ryan. You probably just fixed a lot of your issues against the run. I don't want Tyler Nubin in center field. I've said this a million times before. As you don't forget to hit the like. I've said this a million times before. I don't want Tyler Nubin. I've hated Tyler Nubin's coverage skills in center field since the day we drafted him. Last year, he got more exposed, and you don't want us exposing ourselves. He got more exposed in his coverage. He takes bad angles. He's slow. But if I put him in as an in-the-box safety, and like I said, I do a little Patrick Graham here, a little Patrick Graham persuasion, and play him like they did Logan Ryan and Peppers that first season, you could have something in that front seven that could help slow down the run. Because that's going to be the biggest issue. People are like, well, the pass defense wasn't terrible, even though it was. But why did teams didn't want to throw against us last year? Because you could just run. So if you could stop the run and you go back to a man-to-man style coverage, and I've said it before, I am giving a pass this year to Drew Phillips, Paulson Adebo, and Tay Banks. Because I want to see, we've talked about the corners that had a resurrection or in a career year under Denard Wilson. We've talked about this. So if I can do that and I go to a little bit of a get away from the zone, I'll limit the run and have athletic enough linebackers and use Tyler Nubin somewhere else. Now we're gonna have to find some safeties. That's one of the issues we're gonna have. We can't bring back Dane Belton. You cannot bring back Dane Belton. Dane Belton is an accident waiting to happen. For the one good play he makes, he has 5 other ones that are terrible. We've talked about it before with the gifted interceptions for Matthew Stafford, those 2 interceptions. And we showed all the pictures. He was the trailer on 8 straight touchdowns receiving touchdowns after that play. And I don't mean 8 straight in a row. I mean 8 straight 8 straight touchdown passes, 8 straight in a row that were thrown. He was the trailer. And we showed all the pictures last year. But we're not going to fix everything in one fell swoop. But what we can do is fix things that are semi-broken. Now, listen, the Giants are more than semi-broken when it comes to stopping the run. We're more than semi-broken. But we can fix things by bringing in proper players. By bringing in players that have a role on the team. And that's one of the things I want to look at. I want these players to have a role on this team and have them have the ability to move fluidly through the the defensive line. I know there's already been talk about John Franklin Myers. And it's crazy. Didn't the Rams cut him after his rookie season? Wasn't he? He's like 29 or 30 years old, but then the Rams cut him. He's a defensive tackle. He is a guy, like I said, he's a Robert, I think he's going to go with Robert Saleh in Tennessee because he's with them. Wasn't he with Robert Saleh before? I wouldn't mind getting I know Calais Campbell's 497 fucking years old, but if you're looking for a run stuffing nose tackle who can move the pile, Calais Campbell would be the perfect fit. I know he'll be 40 September 1st. But I don't care how old he is if that motherfucker can just play in the middle of the field. I think like the big name we're not going to get because of what he's going to want. If you're looking at linebackers, will still be Devin Lloyd. Again, he's a three. He is. Quay Walker is a liability in coverage at times. Devin Lloyd is a true 3-down linebacker. And if you pair Devin Lloyd with Sonny Styles, you got something special. I know everyone wants Leo Chanel over coming out of Kansas City, but I think he's more of a byproduct than Steve Spagnuolo than I think anything else. I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on what's the guy in Minnesota? What's that guy? Eric Wilson. I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on him, but I don't know. Is he another guy that is a product of the Brian Flores system more than he is? I mean, we have to create this team in the right image. And like I said, I'm giving Harbaugh and Don and Chris Mara. I didn't say Joe Shane. I'm giving them all the carte blanche they have. I will say if they do something stupid, I will say, that I thought that was kind of a dumb move. But I'm going to give these guys carte blanche here. Let them do what they need to do. But like I said, I don't even know what the system is yet. We haven't even talked about offense yet. Because defense, I need 3 linebackers, at least 2 corners, and 2 safeties. Because I can't bring any more guys in. And this is what's so perplexing with me, that we're going to bring more guys in from the defensive line when we're spending the most amount of cap space in the entire league at that position. And we are probably 3rd in our own division in reference to best defensive lines. It doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. Like I said, I'm just, and a lot of this is just talk and speculation from people. Winston says, can't have OBJ and Neighbors on the same team. No, that's like spontaneous combustion. What's up, Off Broadway? What's up, Big Chief family? Tim says, Slider. Tim, how much do you think Devin Lloyd will make as a free agent? To the fact that Devin Lloyd is a true 3-down linebacker. I think at the high end for Devin Lloyd, he could want an average salary of like $19 million on the high end. I think on the low end, it would be 17. I think you're looking at, with bonus, 3 years, or I think with bonus, you're looking at like 4 years, $76 million, which means if you're going to give him 4 years, 76, you're probably going to guarantee like 38. So we're going to guarantee like 38. You'd have to guarantee and like I said, I think Devin Lloyd I think he's worth it. I think Devin Lloyd would be worth that money, but is that going to be worth that cash for us? Because that's gonna eat up a huge chunk of our salary cap. And I think Devin Lloyd's coming. I'm watching the highlight when he turned that interception for 99 yards. I think how many interceptions did he have last year? He had like 6. I think he had 5 or 6 interceptions last year. I mean, it's a guy that's averaged. He has 436 tackles in 4 years. He is a true 3-down linebacker. So, yeah, I think he's going to want, I think you're looking at 4 years, 75, 35 guaranteed. I think that might be just a little bit too rich for our blood. Keishan says, Tim, I know you didn't pay attention to the other content creators, but they're watching your podcast, stealing your talking points, and using it as their podcast. Everything you're saying, they've been stealing. Don't worry about it, brother. We found out that Bad Dog hides in the chat. And we found that out because Big Don out of Texas usually gives away the membership, OG memberships. And I love it though, because I know who hides in the chat now, because it comes up when they get the OG membership, it tells you, oh, this person's there. Oh, this person's there. So it's all good, brother. And honestly, I'm glad they're doing that, because then they're probably saying some things that are intelligent, because their generalized stupidity is probably going to wear thin, because I do think the fan base is getting a little smarter. I thought it would be your good friend, Bob Papa. Short Bob Papa story. Bob Papa was invited twice. Bob Papa turned me down twice. Hey, Bob, we're both on Believe, motherfucker. Maybe I shouldn't call him motherfucker. Bob, we're both on Believe, you well-dressed, dapper gentleman. What, I'm not good enough? What, am I, a clown? What, do I fucking amuse you? What's so fucking funny about me? Sorry, Joe Pesci. We'll just have Carl on again. The venerable Matt Sims will be making an appearance shortly too. So just trying to confirm a date with Matt. Matt will be one of our, I'm trying to get Matt to do a live. He will be he'll be a 4-time guest on the show when he comes back on. So yeah, but we've tried to reach out to Bob. Dean is 30. Okay. Tim says, Big Chang says, hit that like button. Joe Ferry says, bottom line, 2023 drafts sunk this team. We are so free agent dependent. You take a look at this. We've looked at the draft. We've looked at the draft many times before, and I'm not going to keep beating the dead horse here about how bad the Giants and Joe Shane's draft have been. See, this is the new Tim. I'm not gonna beat a dead horse, because of the fact that we know how bad it is, and we know how bad his free agent signing is. And if you take a look at it, Darren Beaver's gone, McKeithen gone, DJ Davidson's gonna be gone. You might keep McFadden. Dane Belton's gonna be gone. Bellinger's gonna be gone. Cordell Flott's probably gonna want too much money. Jonathan Azuda should be gone. Wandale Robinson looks like he's gonna be gone. Evan Neal looks like he's gonna be gone, and Kayvon Thibodeau looks like he's gonna be gone. So that means potentially Micah McFadden out of the 22 draft on a prove-it deal is the only guy coming back. Owens is gone. Riley's gone. Riley's in Green Bay. Trey Hawkins is going to be gone. Eric Gray should be gone. Jalen Hyatt should be gone. If you sign the venerable Linderbaum, JMS is going to be gone. I mean, you're going to keep Deonte Banks. You're going to have Deonte Banks at the 23 draft. And I'm telling you, 24 is not looking that great. Darius Muasau is not a starting linebacker. Tyrone Tracy is not a bell cow bath. Theo Johnson, with all the talent in the world, is a fucking knucklehead. Drew Phillips, we already know what Drew Phillips' biggest issue is. He can't stop anyone from catching the ball. Tyler Newman is a mistake, and Malik Neighbors is coming off an injury. Corey Black is going to be gone. Thomas is going to be gone. Marcus Bowe, we hope, can fill in at the right tackle position if Jermaine Illuminor leaves. Cam Scatterboot coming off an injury. Darius Alexander, not a run stopper, is a guy that can rush the passer. Jackson Dart, you hope he is your starting quarterback. And Abdul Carter, I've said it before, I still think Abdul Carter's got bust written all over him. So there is a lot of issues here that we're going through. But you're right, Joe. Evans says Quay Walker is great. Quay Walker and Devin Lloyd. I would love that, but I just can't. I can't see it. I mean, I really just can't see us getting that type of. I mean, Quay Walker makes sense. We have breaking Giant news. Breaking Giant, everyone. Okay, breaking Giant news. Hold on, everyone. We need
Ben? Yes, hon. More Hot Pockets.
This
right away, hon.
This just coming in. Breaking New York Giants football news. The New York Giants, according to Adam Schefter, are signing a wide receiver to a 1-year contract. To a 1-year deal. We got our wide receiver. He's coming back. He's coming back to the Giants. According to Adam Schefter right now, the New York Giants are re-signing Gunnar Olszewski to a 1-year deal. Woo! We don't have to drive to wide receiver now because the Gunner's back. I like Gunnar Olszewski. Someone asked me, and I think it was Zach Attack, I think it's Zach. I think it was Zach Attack that said it. That do I think Gunnar Olszewski could replace Wandale Robinson's production? No, I do not think that. But Gunnar Olszewski plays special teams. He returns kicks, and he could be a fifth wide receiver. And that we've talked about before. The dangerous Davis Sills' biggest issue was, and why he couldn't make the Giant roster, he couldn't play special teams. Gunnar Olszewski can play special teams. Gunnar Olszewski is a depth piece that teams need. And I do think, like I said, I like I watched the numbers pop up for the Gunnar Olszewski. People are probably like, oh my God, let's tune in. It's big, giant breaking news. It's Gunnar Olszewski. Why is Quay Walker so controversial? Quay Walker was a knucklehead coming out of college. Quay Walker had some, I'm not going to say issues in Green Bay, but he had some disagreements with some of the ways that he was used in Green Bay. He's been vocal. And the Packers did not pick up his 5th-year option, which is why I wanted to trade him last year for Kayvon Thibodeau, because of the fact that, they think that his ceiling is what he is, that they don't think that he is going to get any better or he's going to reach another level than he's already currently at. And as a New York Giant fan, it's the same reason they got rid of Blake Martinez. As a New York Giant fan, this guy has 469 tackles in 4 years. He does miss a couple games each year, which is another issue. But this is a guy outside of last year usually leads the point of attack. Last year he didn't. Last year he had 58 solo to 70 assists, but he still had 128. They played a little bit of a different defense in Green Bay last year, but Green Bay has already talked about trying to bring him back. But they want to bring him back at a better price, and they didn't want to pay the 5th-year option for a guy that they don't feel is going to be any better than he is right now. But for the Giants, you drop Quay Walker on this team, he's the best linebacker we have by 4.5 miles. So I think that's one of the reasons why. Also, Quay Walker he doesn't make stupid penalties anymore. He did the first couple of years. Some people love him and some people hate. Some people loved and hated Blake Martinez. I thought Blake Martinez in that first season was a perfect fit for the Giants. Blake Martinez's biggest issue was, especially in Green Bay, he was up and down in coverage. He had one season where he would be phenomenal, and then the next season, not so good. Then the next year, he's phenomenal in coverage, and the next season, not so good. He was inconsistent was a great word in regards to the coverage ability of Blake Martinez. Quay Walker is kind of the same thing. I had to look up what Chode Sports is, and I had to laugh so hard I stopped drinking my coffee from coming out. Mine was excellent. Quay Walker got some ejections. I think the fan base turned on him. Who knows? It's more of the fan base. Joe Ferris, a stupid question. Well, we like stupid questions. But can all these Ohio guys be really nasty in college because they are nasty? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't think that's a stupid question. I think it's a good question. Because sometimes sometimes that's what type of players they recruit. I got a super chat from Massey. I got a jump tag. So all super chats go to the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. Looking back, your predictions about the Eagles win total, about Abdul Carter being the wrong pick, were a point on. Seems the Eagles are even pulling further talent-wise. Listen, it's not difficult, and thank you, Massey, because all super chats go to the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. It's not difficult at times to predict things because it's just taking a look from an outside perspective, and I don't know what's going to go on with Abdul Carter yet. I don't know. I think Abdul Carter was used completely wrong last year. I've said this before. I think that. And people took it the wrong way. And Jerry Olszewski, the 10-year veteran offensive lineman for the Buffalo Bills, who played with Jim Kelly and Frank Reich, we've had him on the show before. He even said the same thing that I said about Abdul Carter. First question he asked me is, would you play him at linebacker? I said no. And he's a Penn State guy, Jerry Olszewski. He was like, and we were laughing because he's like, no, I would not play him at outside linebacker. And I said the same thing. I wouldn't play him either. I would have used him as more of a and I know you can't do that with the 3rd overall pick, but I would have used him as a situational pass rusher. I've said it before. I would have done what the Jets did with Bryce Huff years ago. And I would play him as a situational pass rusher and create mismatches for him, because if you put him on and he had to play Abdul Carter more this year because Kayvon Thibodeau got hurt. That was the reason why he had to play more. So as the more he played, and the more that he played against the better tackles, he just disappeared, or he got thrown around like a shot put. You have Abdul Carter's, his game is predicated on speed, but speed can be neutralized. He doesn't have the strength. We've talked about this a million times before. Abdul Carter, when you look at him, he does not look like a dominating defensive end or a linebacker. He doesn't. You know, you think of, we've said it before, you think of Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons looks the part of a dominating defensive end / linebacker. Abdul Carter doesn't. But Abdul Carter can rely on his speed, and speed can create mismatches if you use him at the right times. When you have him on the field for 70, 80% of the snaps, if not more, or I should say 85 or 85% of the side, he will get exposed because he can't cover. He doesn't play the run well, and he doesn't set the end. He's an undersized defensive end. But used in right packages, not NASCAR, not going to go back to like the NASCAR package, but use a certain packages and put him on certain fields at certain part of the field at a certain time and create mismatches. I thought Abdul Carter could have 11 sacks last year, but then the more you keep him on the field, the more his issues were exposed in reference to his weakness at the point of attack. He over pursues way too much on plays. And he doesn't understand his assignment at times against run and maintain his gap integrity. Can these things be fixed? Size can be fixed. You can go to the gym. You can bulk up. You can do everything you need to do. Will it decrease his speed? I don't think it will. Can he find a better, can Denard Wilson find a better situation in regards to putting him in situations where he can be a mismatch? Yes, I do think that. The way Chris Bullen used him the last season was the way he should have been used. Now, even Chris used him too. Even Charlie used him too long. Even Charlie Bullen used him too long. He played better as towards the end of the season because the competition went down. We played really bad teams at the end of the season. We played really bad teams at the end of the season that weren't even trying. I still go back to week 5 or 6 in that Charger game when I watched Justin Herbert, the Duck, outrun Abdul Carter to the sideline. Like Abdul Carter wasn't even running. And I remember texting James Williams because we still talk about this, and I was like, oh, that's not good. When you get outrun by the Duck and you're supposed to be the cheetah, that's probably not a good thing. Did I mention how much I love Bob Papa? Did I mention how much I love Bob Papa? I am no longer going to refer to Bob Papa as motherfucker. But I'm just saying that. Tim, everything with the Giants is semi-broken. Yeah, it's semi-broken. Denard Wilson runs man coverage 25% of the time. That's not actually true. That's not actually true. That's like when everyone's used to tell me what Shane Bowen ran in Tennessee. And I said this when we first got him. I told everyone what Shane Bowen ran, and everyone was like, no, that's not what Shane Bowen does. No, you know what you're fucking talking about. And then like 2 weeks later, they go back and watch the film and say, yeah, that is what they did. Do you know why he ran the zone 80% of the time, which was actually a very high number, ECK Sports? Because that's what the talent they had, and that's what was previously run by his predecessor, Shane Bowen. I already broke that news. That you heard it here first. New York Giants signed Gunnar Olszewski. Still working for a few minutes, unfortunately. That sucks. Well, you should be out now. Let's see here. Chode Sports, tell me why. Ain't nothing but a heartache. We need to revamp the linebacking core. I'm glad we cut Bobby Okereke. Why? And I'm asking ECK Sports this question directly because I want to hear this stat because I want to know what's the reason why you're glad the Giants cut Bobby Okereke. I've said I didn't like when we signed him. I thought we gave an off-the-ball linebacker $5 million more than the market value dictated. I said it before. He was always a good player on a bad team. But this is a guy that still had 149 tackles in 23, 92 solo, 57 assists. He had 93 last year in only 12 games. And he had 143 tackles last year, 78 solo, 65 assists. So with the Giants, if my math is correct, he had 9,450 tackles. Or he had 385. So we had 217 solo, 168, 19 total tackles for loss. Where are you replacing you have to think Moneyball. How are you replacing 143 tackles? How are you replacing, even taking in the average season, 122 tackles on average for the last 3 years? Is he terrible in coverage? God awful, 100%. Said that a million times before. Never liked his ability to coverage. But in 23, when he ran in the right style defense, which was under, what's that guy's name? I can't think. Wink. He had his best career year outside of 151 tackles in 26. So how are you replacing on average 124 tackles? And who are you going to do that with like $6 million in savings and cap space after you take a look at the dead cap room? Could Bobby O health be worse than we know? That could be a question. That could be a question. Is Bobby Okereke hurt? Newman, I don't see it. I've said this before. Everyone said, well, we got the best safety in the draft that year. Well, when the best safety is in a garbage draft class, does it really matter that you got the best out of the trash? Well, I'm not saying Tyler Newman's a trash player. I'm just saying that he is. If I looked at the other 31 other teams, I don't think there's a lot of teams that Tyler Newman would be starting on. If you look at playoff teams, I don't think there's any playoff teams or top 10 or 15 teams that Tyler Newman can start on. That's the way you got to look at it. Let's see here. I do like Gunnar. I like Greg. I like him too, actually. Doesn't know how to chase down a run. No, Mr. Greg, he doesn't. He doesn't understand angles. We've said it before. We have $1.98 that we raised for the Isaac Yanum bus ticket. I still have that. I'm going to run down to my local Staples. I'm going to buy him a fucking protractor and teach him angles. Because that's the only thing the only way we can save Tyler Newman, or we just put him in the box. Tim, we got to that one. Let's see here. Calais Campbell age is like Quay Walker's Pro Football Focus. It's close. It's close. Calais Campbell will be 40 in September. But you know what? He is a guy that can protect. And I was about to talk about it, but I think I just see someone that talk about it. Good, decent protection for a chick. Yeah. Calais Campbell can give you shade, give you coverage for Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence, I've said this before, and the problem is if you run a 3-4, you don't have two defensive tackles. Dexter Lawrence needs someone like a Dalvin Tomlinson to do the dirty work. He needs someone like
King of the almost sack
to do the dirty work. And I can't pay, and I keep saying this over and over again, I can't keep paying this guy like he is the best defensive end, nose tackle in the league when we get run through every year. And he's been in the middle of this defense for the last 5 years. So maybe the problem isn't the Giant defense. Maybe the problem is with Dexter Lawrence and we're using him the wrong way. John Harbaugh decided to revamp our linebacker room with people who can stop the run and who at times can rush the passer and sack him. I like it. Calais Campbell is an ancient relic, but offers decent production for a cheap price. I think you get him cheap. He's willing to play for bad. Yes, Calais Campbell is willing to play for bad teams. That's a good point. Todd says, step one, get guys who don't give up 5 yards rushing. I mean, honestly, I know we joke about that. I know we laugh about that, but that really is step one. Step one is to put people in position that they can make the tackle. Step two is to have people who can literally make the tackle. And that's why I said Quay Walker is perfect. He's got a 3% missed tackle percentage. He only misses tackles last year 3% of the times. Micah McFadden's 13.1. So if you have a guy that gets into that second level, gets 2-3 yards, or gets a yard past the line of scrimmage, or 2 yards past the line of scrimmage, you have to have guys there that can mop up. And on obvious running downs, Quay Walker is perfect. Quay Walker is perfect. And like I said, you go out and get a Sonny Styles. Sonny Styles you put as an outside linebacker, former safety, so we know he can cover. He's a sideline to sideline guy. It just makes sense. Is Joe Shane a laughingstock among NFL front office? D- player. I thought it was an F. I thought he got an F. He got the lowest one. Mr. Greg says, one thing we cannot draft is a project player. Yeah, we've talked about this a million times before, and this goes back to Gettleman. We need immediate talent. There is, and I try to explain this sometimes, and maybe I don't explain it correctly. There are players that the Giants have passed on who were immediate talent players, guys that could come in and produce right away. But in the perception of Gettleman and Joe Shane is they don't have a very high ceiling. Their ceiling is probably what they're going to be when they come into the league. They go with Joe Shane and Dave Gettleman did it. I always use Matt from Connecticut, Matt Pert all the time. They go with projected talent. We always heard that Matt from Connecticut was going to be a force at left tackle or right tackle in 5 years when he came out of Connecticut. The problem was there was guys in that draft that could have played right then and there. But then we waited for this guy, didn't pan out. He went over to the 49ers and became a decent tackle. But there are guys that we could get now that are immediate talent. You could immediately play them. They can give you immediate impact, but their ceiling may not be as projected as high as some of these other players, which might take 2-3 years to mature and maturate. The only problem is the guys that we try to get the mature and maturate just didn't pay off. What's up, my brother says, since God's favorite players on linebacker, I am all in on Styles and Walker, especially Walker. I think you get Walker at $9 million. I think you get Quay Walker $9 million. I would say you give him $9 million. So that's 18. So what, you give him 27? Give him $27 million. I see that some of the market values has him at 8.4. I could see that. I could see you structuring a deal where, and if we did it right, you structure a deal. Now you got to remember, when they declined the 5th-year option in Green Bay, this is another reason. His option would have been $15 million. So they knew they were probably going to, if they came back, you're going to get him on the cheap. And now they're looking like that they're looking like they're going to be moving on from what they're saying over here. I'm saying $9 million. Some people have him projected 3 years, 24.8. I would give him 3 years, 27. I'd give him a little extra money on the signing bonus. And I would probably guarantee like 15 million of his, of that salary. But I think that fits right into the Bobby Okereke slot. Devin Lloyd kind of had some down periods and high periods. He does. But like I said, is that coaching? Hey, I saw Kevin Abrams abacus listed on eBay. Listen, if Kevin Abrams had an abacus, I would have thought that would have been great, because then I'm more worried the fact that he had a solar powered calculator from 1976 that didn't have a 7. That's what I assume Kevin Abrams had. But if he had an abacus, I think that'd be awesome. Let's get up to 60 likes, guys. Mr. Alvarez says, hey, Tim, hearing about the Giants being in the mix for Trent McDuffie, do you think the Giants will add, they were in the mix, but that trade's already gone down. And like I said, the Rams gave up a first, which was like their 26th. Giants, I think they could have given up their second. But if you're moving on from Cordell Flott, it makes sense, the McDuffie trade. But like I said, but you just gave a guy $56 million last year at the same position, and you drafted a guy 3 years ago in the 20s in Deontay Banks, and you just drafted another guy in the 3rd round. I don't know, just didn't make any sense to me. But hey, it is what it is. Giant fans again overrating their players. Mike McFadden, he's okay, but not for what fans talked. Listen, if McFadden came back on a prove-it deal, if McFadden came back on a 1-year, $2.5 million deal, I would take Micah McFadden back. And then Micah McFadden, well, you can't, but I can. I could go to the mighty FanDuel.com, the number one sports book in America. FanDuel.com, new customers bet $5, get $100 in bonus bets if you win. I've already talked about FanDuel ad nauseum, and I'm going to keep talking about it till you go out there and you download their sports app. They got sportsbook, they got casino, they got fantasy, they got racing. I love the FanDuel TV. I've talked about this before. I'm an old man. I like the casino games. I like the slot machine games. I'm not going to lie. I am not going to lie. I love the exclusive home of the Huff and Puff slots. That's one of my favorite ones to play. They also have the one that Gronkowski does. I do enjoy that one. But right now they have, if you like I said, you like doing these things. Player exclusive, join FanDuel today and get 500 bonus spins to play the Huff and Puff Money Mansion. Plus, get up to $1,000 cash back in casino bonuses. We've done the parlays before. I got wrecked on the parlay at FanDuel.com, the number one sportsbook in America. And like I said, the sportsbook, the app is so easy to use. I'm always on this. I'm always trying different parlays. I hit on a couple parlays, but I've been down on. I lost the Nick one the other day by like 2 rebounds. But we're gonna get some better. We're gonna find out some better parlays. And like I said, FanDuel.com, number one sports book in America. If you're looking to bet on the NBA games, you could choose your reward. You could choose either of the following rewards: a one-time 50% profit boost to use up to 3-leg parlay, or 2 25% profit boosts on any wagers for any NBA games on March 5th, which is today. So go to the mightyFanDuel.com, FanDuel.com, number one sportsbook in America. And did we mention that we love Bob Papa? Don't you love it when I call you Bob Papa? Figure if I'm nice, the motherfucker will come on. Oh, shit. I was supposed to call him motherfucker. I keep forgetting that. Also, what free agent quarterbacks would you want to add on this team? Let's take a look at NFL free agent. I don't even know, to be honest. NFL free agent. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the top players ranking. Who would I want? Who would I want at corner? That's a good question. I don't know. Is there anyone? Is there actually anyone better than the venerable Cordell Flott? Is that guy from not Green Bay? Is the kid from KC available? What's his name? Watson. I think he's in his 20s. He's a playmaker. He's a guy that like I said, he's a guy that I think what he had. I think he's only got like 4 career interceptions. But he would be an upgrade. We can go out and get Kyler Murray. I have to look at the corners. I do, because I have not looked at the corners yet, to be perfectly honest. I like Cam Curl, though, at safety. He's another one that I think is 27. He's played in at least 16 games in the last 3 years. He's a guy that if you're looking for a center fielder to take over for a Tyler Nubin, if you put Tyler Nubin in the box, Cam Curl would be my guy, because he can limit the vertical downfield threat. We'll have to do a video on the corners. We're gonna have to do that. Slider says, "No, Tim, you're just funny and you know it. That's all." Yeah, I know that. Let's see. You never submitted quarterback films from Matt Sims quarterback camp because we haven't done it yet. It got too cold. We got to do. We're gonna talk to Matt. We're gonna have Matt live. I'm gonna get Matt. I'm gonna text him later, and I'm gonna have this motherfucker come on live. Gotta stop calling people motherfuckers. I'm going to text that gentleman and have him come on live, like Ryan Roberts is going to. I also like Leo Chanel as free agent linebacker, but if the Giants don't go to free agent right, middle linebackers, do you think can double dip in linebackers in the draft? That is a great question. I'm going to pull up my linebacker list, because there are, and everyone knows who I want. I mean, there's no secret what linebacker I want. We want Jacob Rodriguez. I just want the stash. Fuck everything else. I just want the stash. I couldn't get the porn stash in Gardner Minshew years ago, but there are. Let me get my list here. I have a list. I don't know where I put it though. Where did I put the list? Hold on. I had the list. I have this list up all the time, and the one time that I need it, I don't have it. Okay, if we double dip, I've already talked about this. I found my list. If I'm double dipping in the linebacker core, I've already said it before. If I'm going to go out and get Sonny Styles, if I'm going to do that, I'm going back and getting Josiah Trotter out of Missouri. I think Trotter. If you're looking for a guy, because like I said, if I'm taking Sonny Styles, I'm going to play him on the outside. I'm putting Trotter on the inside. Everyone knows Jeremiah Trotter, the Eagle great, the guy that nearly buried Eli Manning that game that Eli came in late during his rookie season. This guy is a run defender. This guy, if you watched him play at Missouri, you want to look at the gaps, you want to look at the running lanes, this motherfucker erases them lanes. And he does it consistently. He's heavy at the point of attack. He's a good tackler. He's got good lower body strength, quick first step. We always use that. I always say it's always weird to talk about. He's got the hip fluidity. Now, one of the big things is he's got the Justin Pugh issue. He's got the T-Rex arms. I don't have a problem with that. I didn't have a problem with that with Justin Pugh. I don't have a problem with that in linebackers either. But again, like I said, he's an inside linebacker, so his coverage ability is probably going to be his main weakness in Josiah Trotter. He's a guy that is going to need it to play in space. His lateral movement is nowhere near Sonny Styles. This is a guy that is a true middle linebacker. True middle linebacker, and he had some issues with injuries in 24, 23, 24. I don't remember, but that's a guy. If I'm going to double dip in this, and I'm going to take it in the fourth round, that's a guy I'm double dipping with. Because when I put my hands up on my hip, I'll dip, you dip, we dip. AJ says, "Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tim. Why don't you give a nice paper cut and pour lemon juice on it?" What did I do now? Oh, yeah, John Runyon's getting cut. I don't like John Runyon. John Runyon did not play well. To everyone that says all the continuity and consistency, John Runyon did not play well last year. John Runyon's not worth his salary. John Runyon is a guy that Green Bay let him go and replaced him with a third-round pick who became a Pro Bowler. And Green Bay said, and actually was rotating John Runyon with a rookie the last 4 weeks of this last season. He was there in Green Bay and rotated him in the playoffs. And I told you, I have people that follow Green Bay religiously. And the first thing they said to me about John Runyon was, don't pull the motherfucker at guard because he's going to trip over his own feet. He's not athletic. He's not his father. He's not a road paver. He is a good run blocker, but he's a horrible pass blocker. And that's one thing we need to get rid of. Yeah, throw Joe Shane a parade for hitting on the top 6 pick. What the fuck? Who's calling me now? Call me now. All right, well, I can't pick up that call. Not working. But I'm cutting John Runyon. ECK, I'm cutting John Runyon. Wide receiver is fixed. We got Gunnar. We can just end it all. Tommy Two Socks. If the Giants Quay Walker and Kenneth Walker, I can see the headline now. Harbaugh walks the walk. Ooh, that's actually good. Tommy Two Socks is going to be. We are bringing back New York Giants generations. Ryan's schedule with school and everything else he does, he's just not conducive to doing a 2-time weekly show. I'm retired and got nothing else better to fucking do. And also I went back and checked the numbers for the. This is the best part. I go back and check the numbers for New York Giants generations and check the downloads, and I'm looking at like, motherfucker, we had a lot of downloads. So I'm gonna bringing back New York Giants generations, and if you want to try to become one of the co-hosts, we're doing open auditions. Tommy Two Socks is going to be doing his audition hopefully in the next couple of days. I got a couple other people that we're going to be auditioning, and then we're going to try to bring back the show before the draft, have it 2 times a week. So stay tuned for that. And it's going to have the old timer and me, and we're going to have a younger person, someone that's probably been around more towards the end of Eli Manning's career. And we're going to have the open debates like we did last time with young Ryan, and we're going to see where this lands. So if you are interested, email me at tim@onlineBigBlue.com. That's tim@onlineBigBlue.com, or find me on Twitter and DM me on Twitter or any of that any of that shit. Because like I said, I thought it was a good show. I still think it's a good show, and I think it's an important show because I think that it's good to get the perspective from 2 different fan bases, 2 different generations, and that's why we're going to bring back New York Giants generation. So everyone give Tommy Two Socks a big, big attaboy for coming out and doing it, because it takes a lot of guts to run on a podcast, and like I said, I'm very excited to try to find the next young Ryan. Let's see. Rod Tidwell issues. Oh, well, we're way behind in the chat. Blake Martinez and Kyler Frackwell were the good signings in 2020. You're right. Let's see. Your Skyline says, I'm getting nauseous thinking about the Rams having one of their own first-round picks in the last 10 years. Meanwhile, we're struggling to draft a starter with all of our issues. Yeah, the Rams are notorious for trading all their first-round picks. Let's see here. New York Giants are top viewers, streamboo.com. I don't know what the fuck that is. If I had it first, Tim, you means you had it first. If I had it first, okay. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Another stupid, would you trade Abdul Carter? Oh, Raymond, I don't think that. Here's my thing, Raymond. I'm going to tell you this right now. There are no stupid questions.
But that's okay. Remember, there are no stupid questions, just stupid people. And
I'm not calling you stupid, Raymond. Outside right now, Brian Burns, Andrew Thomas, and Jackson Dart, in my mind, there should be no one that's untouchable on this team. And that is including Abdul Carter. Because Abdul Carter's game is flawed. And I'm going to say this again. In my opinion, there's only 3 untouchables on the 53-man roster. That's Brian Burns, Andrew Thomas, and Jackson Dart. And Jackson Dart, in my mind, is only on that list right now because I don't know what Jackson Dart is yet. And I'm waiting to see what this coaching staff does with Jackson Dart. So we're gonna have it at that. But no, that's actually not a stupid question. What's a stupid question is how are we not up to 65 likes yet? We still have 123 people watching. How are we not at 63 likes? What the fuck's going on? Bobby Okereke was horrible defensive. I think Bobby Okereke's biggest issue was the fact that he was schemed wrong. You saw what he did under Wink Martindale. And I do think he was schemed wrong. I think you're right. Philosopher, hot take, best wide receiver in the draft. I know a lot of people like lemons. A lemon, I'm sorry. A lot of people like lemon. I like lemons. I usually drink it in my water. Tay Crowder at 130 tackles, looking at tackles. ECK, we've talked about that a million times before. And I'm sorry, ECK, but you were one of the people, and I know you're a youngster, but you were one of the people that liked Tay Crowder. You were one of the people that were in the chat in the show when he had the big hit against Derrick Henry. And I kept trying to point out to people, yeah, he got 130 tackles, but only like 45 of them were solo, which means he didn't lead the point of attack. So I'm not going to take your opinion on that one right now. Come back with a better one. You're better than that, ECK. Tim, I heard Tim dropping Evan off at the airport in the truck. It's Jordan Renan. Giants interested in who is that? Alan Zone. I'm not even sure who that is. I'll have to take a look at that. Tommy Tusak says, do you think they bring in a tight end to seriously compete against Theo? Every position should be open. Every position on this team should be open. Plain and simple. Because this is a brand new head coach. This is a brand new staff. And I've talked about this before, and certain people in the chat and certain people on X have said this to me, and I keep trying to explain to people. You can't go by what Denard Wilson ran in Tennessee. You can't go by what Matt Nagy ran with the Bears. You can't go by that, because are they going to look at this and base their scheme off the talent they have? So yes, Denard Wilson ran a 3-4. It's not, he didn't play zone 80% of the time. That is such a weird, bad number to even pick. But he played to the strength of the people that he had, because Shane Bowen played zone the majority of the time, the 5 years he was there. So that's the players he had. So I can't tell you what scheme Denard Wilson's going to run. I can't tell you what scheme Matt Nagy's going to run, because I don't know. Because I don't know what players they're even going to bring in yet. Now, in the midst of free agency, we're going to know quickly because of the players that they bring in vis-a-vis free agency. But until then, hit the motherfucking like button, because we only have 57 likes, guys. I want 68 likes before I got to go cook dinner. Tommy Tusak says, do you think they'll bring in a tight? I think they should bring in a tight end to compete. Big Mike Lily says, Joe Son is a better GM than Joe, at least at drafting. You're not wrong. Trenton says, hit the like button. I'm going to throw the link in the chat if anyone wants to come in for a second and talk about free agency, talk about how wonderful I am, because we always like to hear that. So I'm going to throw the link in the chat. So if you're on X or if you're on YouTube, come on down. Yo, brother, what's up? Big Greg says, after the season, Caleb already knew he lost his center. Why would they trade their best wide receiver? Because DJ Moore is not their best wide receiver. They have a plethora of wide receiver. And like I said, the center retiring at 27 years old after just signing a $54 million contract, that was pretty interesting. But DJ Moore became a third to a fourth option to Caleb Williams. Sometimes there's just not this simpatico relationship that people have with their wide receivers. And sometimes players just don't trust, quarterbacks just don't trust certain wide receivers. Ruben Randall, great example. Ruben Randall, Thursday night in Chicago, had 3 interceptions by Eli Manning thrown to Ruben Randall's side, because Ruben Randall ran the wrong route, because it was a timing pattern 3 times, and they all turned into 3 Eli Manning interceptions. That was the first time that in Eli Manning's entire career I ever watched him yell at a wide receiver at the sideline. And then he just stopped throwing to Ruben Randall. Then Ruben Randall was gone. So, I mean, sometimes you just have that and you just don't. My guess is they will fill out the roster with older players on relatively cheap 1 or 2 more deals. I hope they don't. I hope the scouting department, I hope the player personnel department, I hope Dawn and them have an understanding that, you know what, maybe we take a look at some younger guys on some cheaper deals, and we tried to cultivate talent with the coaching staff that we have. Knicks aren't winning at all. With Tatum coming back, I hope Boston does, because I'm going to win $108,000. Because out of that 6-leg parlay, I have a 6-leg parlay that I've done. And the 6th leg of the parlay is the Boston Celtics win the NBA Finals. If that happens, I win $108,000. So, Knicks can win it if we beat the Pistons. I don't know if we're going to beat the Pistons. I get a little worried about that. Love when you call me Bob. I love it when you call me Bob Pop. Throw your hands in the air. Bob Papa comes on the show. If not, then he's a motherfucker. Sorry, I forgot. This is the new Tim. We've turned over a new leaf that we're just saying nice things about people now. Greg says, keep saying nice things, Bob Papa. He will show. Like, if you say it, Bob Papa will show. Oh my God. This is fucking incredible. Greg? Oh my God. This is fucking incredible. I got a guest right now. The one, the only, Bob Papa. Or Trent.
What's up, Tim? How you doing?
What's going on, brother? How are you doing today?
Good. Just got out of work. Got some Wendy's. I'm hitting my second wind.
Getting your second wind as an Eagle fan. Well, you know what? I mean, I don't want to tell you this, but if you're having Wendy's, you're gonna have your 3rd, 4th, and 5th wind in about 20 minutes. Hey-oh, sorry.
That's true.
It all depends on what Wendy's you got.
Yeah, the local Wendy's is pretty good. They don't usually do me too dirty.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as they clean the grill, because that's the big thing. AJ Brown, you're a Philadelphia Eagle guy.
As some might think.
Let's go. I couldn't tell. What's going on with AJ Brown?
We're going to have to keep him until after June 1st. We're not going to be able to eat 40 million dead cap this year. It would just be sacrificing a year of two contracts that you could have for that value of other contributing free agents, players that we're going to lose anyway, like Jalen Phillips or Nakobe Dean. You could re-sign Dallas Goedert for another $10 million, $9 million deal. So we can't afford a $40 million dead cap hit. We're going to have to trade him. If we trade him, is going to be later on in the offseason where he'll have less value because obviously draft night would be the night to trade him if we were looking to move him.
Well, you're running out of I think you're running out of options for big trades with him because of some people that have hit the market right now. Some people that have just recently are going to be released when the league year starts at the wide. Moody just got released from Atlanta. I don't know if George Pickens is going to stay on the cap. On the tag. The same with Alex Pierce. I mean, I think you're running out of places that you can send that contract and get any type of value back.
I thought the Bills would be a suitable destination for him, but the Bills just traded DJ Moore, so that's probably not going to happen.
I was literally going to say that. Let's see. Joe Ferry says McLovin is a good kid. Crazy to be a teenager and adult listening to you. Yeah, it is kind of weird, but it actually worked out well. Oh my God, here he is, the one, the only, the Black Bob Papa. Philosopher.
You gonna call me a motherfucker?
Only to your face.
Oh man, gotta love it.
So I have the cohort staff here. We have the Philosopher. We have Trenton, right, the Eagle fan. Philosopher, what knowledge are you dropping to hear us in Giant Land? What is your perspective of everything that's going on? Legal tampering starts at noon on Monday.
Yeah. So first I wanted to address what you guys were talking about with AJ Brown. I think whatever compensation the Eagles would get for AJ Brown if you trade him is going to be comparable to whatever the Bills gave to get DJ Moore, if that makes sense.
But they only they got a second for DJ.
I think it was a second and a fifth, right?
Yeah, a second and a fifth, and I think there was Buffalo got back DJ in a sixth.
Yeah, so I would say maybe for AJ, you get like a second and a third.
But for AJ Brown, though, AJ Brown to me and Trenton, you've watched him more than I have. Well, I've watched him a little bit this year because, but is AJ Brown and DJ Moore even on the same level?
It's going to sound biased coming from an Eagles fan perspective, but I would argue they're not really remotely equivalent. AJ had a really bad year in terms of him as a player, in terms of him as a leader on this team. His playoff game against the Niners brings to mind. He had 4 drops on 7 targets. Like, that's just unacceptable. But if he can actually get his head back in the game, and he has said publicly before that he struggles to lock in sometimes, he's got some mental health problems. If he can really lock in and focus with a fresh new start with a new team, I think he's easily top 5 receiver in the league potential. I've seen him play at that level before.
This is the guy that's got 4 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons with the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Even
this last year was his worst year, and that was still 1,000 yards and
I was like, even with a bad year, he slid over 1,007 7 touchdowns because the Eagles' offensive coordinator had no idea what the identity of the team was going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean,
my question in regards to that would be, what team is more needy for receiver and able to trade with a team like the Eagles than the Bills right now?
Maybe the Patriots.
That's a good point, actually.
And I think Howie would take the 31st pick for AJ at this point, because you're not going to get a high round first round pick. So as long as it's a first rounder, I think AJ, we could trade AJ at that price. But the problem is, we're going to want that pick this year, and we don't want to eat that $40 million dead cap hit. That's what's looming over the whole situation.
I got to get to this one about Jordan Renan. He's a motherfucker too, because he turned us down too. He turned us down coming on. So we're not talking about Jordan Renan. He truly is a motherfucker. He's not like Bob Papa, because Bob Papa is a saint, a pinnacle. If there was a giant Mount Rushmore, Bob Papa should be on it. And I'm not just saying that because he's on the Believe Network. And I'm not just saying that because I'm trying to get him on the show. But Jordan Renan's a motherfucker. And I Wyatt Teller, yeah, I think Wyatt Teller is someone that I would bring in if I was the Giants. And Vera Tucker,
Coming off an injury.
yeah, a philosopher. What I mean, what do you, Vera Tucker can I mean, you could bring in anyone, but what do you think Vera Tucker would be looking for coming off an injury?
He was really good before the injury, so I'm thinking he's going to be looking at like 7 to 8 at the low end, 10 at the high.
10 at the high. I don't know.
Because he got drafted kind of high.
I
Like
think
second
8
round?
for Vera Tucker would be a steal if he stays healthy.
What
8.
was the injury he had? I forget what how he was. It wasn't like,
I think it was a leg injury that took him out the rest of the season. Pretty sure it
I
was
want to say
bad.
it was lower body. Yeah.
I mean, we're looking at, I mean, if you go with a Vera Tucker, that means you're definitely getting rid of Runyon because they both play the same position. But he's had injury issues. I mean, I don't know. See, that's why Jordan Renon's a motherfucker, because he's had injuries for a while now.
Well, the way I look at free agency, so you asked me to drop some knowledge, right? So I hear some knowledge.
Vera Tucker's last 3 seasons have ended vis-a-vis injury.
Right. No, he's a good player. And that was him in college. He got hurt in college too. He's always been good. He just is injured.
Is that someone the Giants should bring in?
I would say no. So this is what I would say to the Giants fans with free agency. What you want to look at is it's all about supply and demand. So you want to look at where the supply is super high and the demand is not always as high. Then you can get a lower price. And a position like that would be linebacker. That's why I like that they cut Bobby Okereke, because there's a crap ton of linebackers that are good linebackers in the free agency market. And linebackers not.
But who could you bring in the free agency market for $6 to $7 million? That's going to be equivalent with the dead cap number to Bobby Okereke and his 120 something plus tackles each year the last 4 seasons.
Well, I will say this. I don't think that he's as good as that 100 whatever tackles. I think that's a little inflated numbers because our defense was crappy as hell for the last 2-3 years. So I feel like his numbers are inflated anyways. And there's a lot of older linebackers that I think are just as good as him that you could probably get for cheap.
Well, name a couple.
Bobby Wagner.
Bobby, first of all, Bobby Wagner doesn't even know if he's coming back.
I still think he's better than him, though.
Yeah, but you gotta give me a guy that's literally going to come back. I mean, Bobby Wagner is not as old as Calais Campbell, but Bobby Wagner, I wanted 4 years ago.
Right.
I cannot give you Bobby Wagner over Bobby Okereke.
Okay, that's fair. What's another older linebacker? There's like at least 4 or 5. Hold on, sorry, I gotta look for him.
You could go younger too in the opposite direction and go with somebody like Nakobe Dean.
He's gonna get paid though.
I don't think so with his injury history, because I followed his whole career since he's been in Philly, and he's been injured bad lower leg injuries on both legs. So
wasn't he healthy last year though?
He was healthy through most of 2024, and then he did something to his knee and was out until I want to say about like week 9 this year, and then he came back and played good. But he's had 2 like season-ending injuries so far in his, I think, 4 years as a player. So that's gonna bring his price down. I'm coping. I'm hoping we can keep him. I'm hoping he comes back on a cheap deal.
You're a fucking Eagle fan. You're just coping. All right,
I am coping. I'm coping right now.
I'm gonna give you a name, and I was gonna talk about this on Sunday. I'm gonna give you a name, philosopher, and Trenton. Kenneth Murray, 27 years old, former Charger, former Tennessee Titans, former Dallas Cowboy. Plays the same position as Bobby Okereke. Had years of 107, 95, and 81. Someone you would bring in at 5. Someone you could probably get between like 4.5 to 5 million to play in the middle and to play in the middle. He's better than in my mind, Micah McFadden. And I don't think he is much of a drop off between. And I liked Kenneth Murray coming out of college. I wanted the Giants to draft him. I don't think he's much of a drop off from Bobby Okereke, and you're stealing him from Dallas.
Only issue with him that I have is my understanding, remembering him from Oklahoma, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Undersized, not great against the run, which I think is a problem for us and would just make our issues probably worse.
6'2", 245, and actually has been pretty good against the run the last 4 years.
Oh, good shit. Okay, let's get him. Fuck it.
I like it. I like it.
I think you guys might draft Sonny Styles at 5.
Dude, you've been watching the fucking show. Of course we were dropping him at 5. Of course, because I said it. I've been preaching this now for weeks. Everyone else is just a little bit slow. Everyone else is kind of Eagle fan-esque. Finally getting on the Sonny Styles train because, like, they're a little slow in Philly.
I'm on the Sadiq train. I really want Sadiq out of Oregon, but it's not going to happen.
Well, where are you guys picking?
I think we have the 23rd pick. I don't follow until I see how he picks the guy, and I just look at his post draft reaction, and I just gauge everything based on that until the content creators tell me what to think. I have no opinion of my own.
I have no opinion of my own. If you want to go, if you're going to go Wagner, what about Levante David? I think he's.
I'm looking at some names too. Matt Milano.
Ooh, I like that name.
I like that
Alex
name. I don't. Matt Lamont. That's the kid from Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
He's another guy that's had some injury, not issues, but he's
Alex Singleton in Denver's available. I only know that because he used to play for the Eagles.
No, I'm not. I don't. See, I think of it this way, and this is what I've been trying to think about. But this is me, not the Giants. I want fairly younger guys that could potentially be here towards the end of their contract when the Giants are good again. That's what I want. That's what I want to see.
Probably better off looking in the draft for that then.
Well, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I see a couple here. You got Cole Holcomb, he's 29. Quincy Williams, 29. Kenneth Murray, who you just mentioned, is 27. Quay Walker, who you were talking about, is 25. Devin Bush.
Devin Bush. No, I don't want Devin Bush.
Right. I knew you were going to say that because he had a good year last year, but every other year he was trash.
Yes. Yeah. He's a one time, in my mind. He's a one time. Who I wanted last year at linebacker, and I would still take him this year after he went to Miami. I think you get him on the cheap, and he played well with Spagnuolo, is Willie Gay Jr. I liked Willie Gay coming out of college when he went to Mississippi State. And he's probably only going to call. You could take a flyer on him for like $1 or $2 million and not guarantee his money. And he is stout in the middle because I'm like I said, I'm looking in the middle because of the fact that I'm going to take Sonny Styles.
So what do you think of Alex Anzalone?
I don't like his name.
Okay.
Well, at least I'm honest.
He's got nice hair.
I was gonna say, is that the kid with the good hair?
The long blonde mane,
yeah. Okay. Oh, we got to drop in James Stein for a minute. Sorry, James, I just saw you pop up into the screen. Big James. We got the Eagle fan. We got the philosopher, and we got Big James Stein. Big James, what's your thought process here on this New York Giant organization and this team getting ready to jump into legal tampering?
My thought process is
things you go to fucking jail, but in the Giant, in the NFL, okay.
All right. My thought process is I think John Harbaugh is going to do what he has to do to bring in the players we need, and it's going to mean we're going to have to let go of some of the well-known players we've had, and some of the fans ain't going to like it, but that's too bad. If we want a winning team, you got to accept the fact that we're letting go some good players who we thought were good, but who John thinks they're not. So when you retool a team or rebuild, it means some of the so-called good players go on the wayside. and bring in talent that can actually get the job done. That's my take.
I love it. I saw this best quote on Twitter about Wandale Robinson, and it says Giants GM reportedly told Wandale Robinson not to resign his lease for his New Jersey apartment in the middle of last season. We've heard that was a joke from what was told when he told the corner not to resign his lease because he was going to trade him. I'm gonna start with the Eagle fan because he's an Eagle fan. Wandale Robinson, would you bring, if you were the Giants, would you bring him back at this absorbent salary that he's projected to get?
It depends. What's his projected salary again?
18 million.
I would not re-sign Wandale for 18. I'd say 15 or less.
I can't even sign him for 15. I can't even sign him for that. I mean, that to me is still too much. But okay. Philosopher, we re-signing Wandale?
Oh yeah, we're not re-signing, bro. I like them too, but nah, it's just not gonna happen. We need to move on.
James Stein, we're gonna re-sign Wandale.
No.
This is the name. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. He's been around, yes, but he's not the guy. He's not the guy that can tear the top off the defense. You need to get a receiver who can actually run a good route, who can go more than 6 yards than what he does, and actually maybe go 15 to 20 to get you a good, pass completion. We need somebody who can actually pair up with Neighbors. And I also don't think Slayton's that good either.
Well, we're not getting rid of Slayton because we're not going to. It's all guaranteed.
We're stuck with him, but I mean, Wandale, he gets in there.
I gotta head out, but people have to explain. I have a very astute panel here, and I'm going to start with Trenton on the top because I don't understand this name that I keep seeing for the New York Giants. I just don't fucking get it, and I don't get why. And tell me why, because it ain't nothing but a heartache. And I don't want it that way. John Franklin Myers from the Broncos, defensive end, 6'4", 288 pounds, played well over the last couple of years, career high at 7.5 sacks. Why does this name, we have the most amount of cap space in the entire league spent on our defensive line, and I think our defensive line is third best in our own division. Why the hell would we, and I'm trying, why the hell would the Giants be even considering John Franklin Myers?
I have no idea. I've been reliably informed by a lot of Giants media members on YouTube and Twitter that you guys have an excellent pass rush, so I don't see the need to add any more to that group.
Okay.
Especially with the draft picks that you spent acquiring Burns and Abdul Carter and Kayvon, you've already invested enough into that side of the ball. I think offense is where you need the most upgrades if you're going to see some success, some real sustained success next year.
I agree.
Yeah.
Philosopher John Franklin Myers. Why? If you're a Giant, and like I said, I'm taking all opinions because I don't get it. I don't understand it.
I think it's just because our D tackle talent has been very underwhelming over the last couple of years, especially.
But he plays defensive end.
In a 3-4 though, right? Because he's 288.
Yeah, he hasn't played defensive tackle since his first year in the league.
So if we're talking about our 3-4 ends in our defense, who's our best 3-4 end, would you say?
Well, we have to play Brian Burns and Abdul Carter because of the fact that one we traded for and one we took the third overall pick for. So
right, but I would
assume
wouldn't you say they're miscast as 3-4 DNs?
Yeah, 100%. So I can't re-sign. I can't sign a free agent because I have two undersized defensive ends that when I traded for and when I drafted last year.
Yeah, I just think it's the usual Giants fan solution to any problem. Like, oh, we're not that good at this spot, so let's get a big name. Oh, here he is.
Okay,
sign him.
Okay, I can take that. I can take that. James Stein, same question to you. Why?
I don't see the point. I don't see the point in wasting the resources on a defensive player like this guy. What we need to do is strengthen our offensive line rather than trying to buy another defensive player.
Okay.
We need to get the offensive line straight first.
All right, I can see that then. All right, everyone. Nobody, we stuck at 62. I wanted 65 likes. I want to thank James Stein for coming on. I want to thank Trenton for coming on. I want to thank for the philosopher for coming on. We are, and Tommy Two Socks says we'll give Tommy Two Socks the last comment of the day because Tommy Two Socks is going to be auditioning for the co-host of New York Giants Generations. I could draw a wide receiver on a piece of paper to replace Hyde and get more production. You probably could. He would have more catches. He would have less drops. And yeah, I have to agree with that one. All right, but I'm gonna have to head out, guys, because it is getting a little bit late, and I have some food in the oven that I gotta go take care of. We're gonna have a stream on Sunday, so make sure you stay tuned. That's gonna be the legal tampering period stream, and then we are gonna have Ryan Roberts from A to Z Sports on with us on Monday at 11:15 for our legal tampering day stream, and we'll also probably jump back on at 4:00 if anything happens. And then we'll also have on Thursday when free agency actually starts, we'll be streaming that day too. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Don't forget the mighty FanDuel.com, FanDuel.com, #1 sports book in America. You can find us everywhere. And don't forget, we all love Bob Papa. Just remember that. Right, guys? Who do we love?
Mother.
Papa.
All right, see you, Tim. See you guys.
Y'all take care.
I'm gonna hound that motherfucker till he comes on. I'm gonna hound that motherfucker till he comes on. That's, you know what? That's what we're gonna do, brother. That's what we're gonna do. All right, where we got everyone dropping out today. Looking forward to the next stream. I appreciate that. And again, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification button, because I don't have enough people hitting the you're hitting the notification button. You have to hit the all notification button. I don't know why, but this is what you have to do. And you know how tech savvy I am, so make sure you do that. What's up, Mike Lee? All right, guys, I'm tired. I have to get the clip where it says I'm tired. I think I'll go home now. So don't forget to follow us on Sunday. Don't forget to follow us on Monday and Tuesday. Look out for those special guests coming on. We got a couple other big special cups. We got some former players coming back on again, like we did last year. This is Tim's New York Giants Straight Talk, powered by online Big Blue LLC, brought to you by the mighty FanDuel. And I'm out of here.